Right, I know that Prog's going to have quite a lot to say on this, and I'm going to go over to him in a moment. But first things first, Prog, I want you to answer one question. Do you have a problem with Tom Cruise per se, or do you have a problem with 80s Tom Cruise?
It's specifically 80s Tom Cruise.
And why?
Because he plays the same character in every bloody film he's in the 80s, or predominantly every film. I think there's one or two exceptions, but it's always. I always remember hearing a joke about Tom Cruise and his roles that he played. I can't remember the name of the comedian. That was the Canadian comedian. I think it was Rich Hall. It might have been, but he said something, and it's always stuck with me. And he said, if you look at his films, he plays a character, young, cocky, gets into whatever job or environment he wants to be in. Then he has a crisis of confidence, but then with the love of a woman, he conquers that crisis and he becomes the hero at the end. And almost all of his 80s films, Tom Cruise, that's every character. And it's never left me. I've never forgotten it. And rewatching Top Gun now, perfect example.
All right, let's before
I'm googling all of his 80s films now.
Before we let Prog rip into this film, because I know where this is going to go, but maybe the audiences won't. I'm going to give my memories of it, and then Ev, and then we can bring Prog in, right? And I grew up with a certain amount of Tom Cruise films, right, in my household. And I mentioned this on previous podcasts. It was me and my mum and my sister. So there were some films that were possibly aimed at females, right? And Tom Cruise, I'm not saying his films were aimed at females, but he probably had a following because he was this young, attractive guy, whatever. So in my household, we had Cocktail, right? That was what I think that was my sister's film. We I don't know if we had Top Gun, but I definitely watched it a few times. But
I reckon it would have been Risky Business for your sister and Cocktail for your mother.
I don't think I've ever seen Risky Business.
Okay, that's okay.
What is that the one where he's that famous scene where he's in a white shirt and he slides in? Yeah. I must have seen it, right?
He gets a free house, doesn't he?
Right. But so I grew up quite a bit around Cocktail as regards to Tom Cruise. Maybe not so much Top Gun, but I've definitely seen this numerous times throughout the years. But the biggest thing when it comes to Top Gun and my memories are not because of this film. It's because of Hot Shots. And Hot Shots predominantly use the story of Top Gun as its story. So I was watching this last night, or I finished it off last night, I should say. And all I could think of was all the different lines and the different bits that Hot Shots are taking the piss out of. And do you know one particular scene? Do you know at the very end where John Cryer's character is guiding in Harley? Is his name Harley Topper? Whatever his name is.
Topper Harley.
Topper Harley, sorry, yeah. And he's just like, gliding in. Oh, my wings have gone. Bring down the landing gear. They're shot. And he was just listening. And basically, the ship just, not a ship. The plane just falls straight, and it's
like the carcass of. It's just the carcass, isn't it?
Yeah. And watching it last night, that's all I could think of. So, and I also forgot Meg Ryan was in it.
Can I just say now, going off the back of what you just brought up, I was within 10 minutes of me watching Top Gun, I was wishing I was watching Hot Shots.
Which one though? Hot Shots 1 or Hot Shots Part 2?
I would have taken any of them. I would have watched both Hot Shots films on repeat for 24 hours rather than sit through Top Gun last night.
For me, it would always be Hot Shots 1, but I do love Part 2.
Part 2 has some good bits.
Yeah. So Ev, over to you, buddy.
Well,
sorry, I'm going to interrupt. Really sorry, Ev. I hate you when I do. I also forgot. I also thought that Kelly McGinnis's character was a shrink in it, and it's again simply because I've got him mixed up with Hot Shots. Basically, they're the same film.
Funny enough, Sean actually said to us, Sean, my wife, when I was watching it the other day, she was saying, I thought she was a psychologist or something. I was like, no.
Yeah,
Hot shots.
Go on, Ev. Sorry, mate.
Oh no, sorry. To be honest, I can't really remember when I first watched this film. It must have been, let's say, when I was in high school. Must have been, because I don't remember watching it any time. So either before or after that. But it's just cheese from start to finish, isn't it? It is. It's just like it's just proper macho cheese, and that's what's so endearing about it. I know you don't. I'm seeing your face.
Oh, you carry on, right?
But
Ev, we always knew this was going to be a difficult podcast, and I don't think we're ever going to change his mind on it. So we just have to live with that fact.
Yeah. But yeah, it's just like there are some parts where, like, and watching it back a couple of nights ago, I just felt myself cringe, and like it's, I don't know, just, yeah, certain things like Meg Ryan's character, how she's like, is she supposed to be a proper hick, like country hick in it? I don't know, and just like this certain thing, like the proper macho things, like, you can be my wingman anytime. Bullshit, you can be mine. And all that.
I did, like you, when I saw that bit at the end, I knew it was coming. I almost quoted it myself, and I thought, "Fuck me, that is bad." And then I know you were going to bring it up at some point, Dev.
Yeah.
But that bar scene.
Oh, leave that till later, because I think we can have at least half hour on that scene alone. But
we will bring it up, and I think I've mentioned it previously, but I have an issue with it for one particular reason, but we'll bring it up in changes.
Yeah.
The one thing I always love about this film, Kelly McGinnis's car. I think it's brilliant, and I only found out last night that it's a Porsche Speedster.
Are we on the good points, are we?
Well, I don't know, but I just have to put it in there because every time I see that car, I'm like, oh, and she drives it like a loon.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I thought for a minute you were going to say it's an AC fucking Cobra.
No, it's a 1958 Porsche Speedster. I looked it up. Come on in, Prog. Do you have any young memories of this that have sort of clouded your judgment on why it's a bad film?
I did watch it when I was younger, and I only ever watched it once, and I didn't like it when I was younger, and I was in my, I'd say, teens, maybe 12 to 15 years old I was in, right? Now, I honestly can't tell you why I didn't like it when I was younger. I just knew when I finished watching the film, I was like, I don't like that. I just don't like that. So and I never watched it until now.
Really?
Because, yeah, genuinely. I haven't watched Top Gun in 25 years, more or less.
So is this like therapy?
Well, the thing is, right, doing this podcast, yes, I always said I don't like Top Gun. But when we said we were going to rewatch it, I was like, okay, yeah, I haven't watched it for years, so I'm willing to give it a chance. I think we've said this loads of times, whether we've recorded it or we've just been chatting amongst ourselves. We go into films hoping that it's going to be good. You want to watch a film and be entertained, don't you? You don't go into a film thinking I'm going to slag this off no matter what. But watching it last night, I was biting my knuckles within 5 minutes. It was just, I couldn't get over it. I really couldn't. In fact, it's worse now than what I remember it being. And we'll get to it at some point. But yeah, I haven't watched it for 25 years since the first time I watched it. I watched it last night, and yeah.
We may as well mention this now because I was going to mention it at some point. But we've got a mate who really likes this film. And his name's Daniel Harris. I don't know. He used to listen to the podcast. He may not anymore. But his stag do. Yeah, we went to like what was it? Like Top Gun themed. Everyone had like aviators and t-shirts printed.
T-shirts printed out, yeah.
And the chains, didn't they?
And the dog tags. Good, really good really good stag do that was.
That was a great stag do. That was. Yeah.
But many stories I can't be told on this podcast.
I've got another mate who really I think he just loves Tom Cruise in general. Tim Lloyd, if you're listening, shout out. But yeah, he loves this film as well, and I think he was when I used to work with him. I think he always used to go on about a sequel that, you know, if they made, you know, Top Gun 2 and whatever, and lo and behold they are. So.
So here's a question at this point. Prog, you've just watched this film and we've gauged where you are with it. There is a sequel. It's coming out at the end of next month, and this is the reason why we're doing it on the podcast. But it also has one of the podcast favorites starring in the sequel, in Jennifer Connelly.
Yeah.
So is that reason enough for you to go and watch the sequel?
I don't know whether it's reason enough for me to spend money at the cinema, but it's reason enough that if it was on telly, I might watch it. But if we say we're going to watch it for this podcast, I'll watch it. I've got no problem in giving a film a chance. No problem at all.
Good, because we are going to go and watch it for this podcast.
If we're recording our reactions, just don't put the camera on me solely, right?
There'll be a camera on Prog's face, like every time Tom Cruise or any other like macho, sort of scene comes on, he'd be like, "Oh, for fuck's sake!" And then he'll pan to Jennifer Connelly, and he'd be drooling to one side.
just call it the Prog cam.
Yeah, it'll be like 2 hours of just two gifs. One of Jean-Luc Picard face palming, and another one of Jim Carrey in the mask where he sees Cameron Diaz.
Right, we may as well move on then and get at least some good aspects out of Prog. Ev, what have you got? Go on, you may as well start.
I got a few.
Whoa. Let me go first. I haven't got that many, and then you boys.
So we can mop up.
Yeah, you boys can carry on for about 10 minutes, then. So, I would say Tony Scott, and I think he does a decent job with what he's given. But the best thing about this film is Tom Skerritt.
Oh, Tom Skerritt is awesome.
Even with that dialogue, he's still good.
Do you know?
That's it. That's all I've got.
I'll jump on Tom Skerritt, but I'll also add in Michael Ironside.
That's what she said.
Hey.
Michael Ironside, I'll add to it.
Yeah.
Because I do think he's an underrated actor.
I'd agree with that. Yeah, he is good.
He doesn't get enough credit.
No,
in my eyes.
Yeah, I'm jumping on that bandwagon. It's just that it's just a who's who of like 80s action, movie stars, and loads of cameos I saw like watching it back. Obviously you got Cruise, Val Kilmer, Ironside, James Tolkien, as the mouthy.
Who is the principal in Back to the Future?
Yeah.
Strickland.
Whip Hubley, who plays Hollywood. What a name that is, Whip.
Whip. Well, I thought you were going to say Hollywood. What a name.
Yeah. Rick Rossovich, who was in Terminator. He plays Slider. Tom Skerritt, obviously from Alien. Young Tim Robbins, who plays Merlin.
Yep.
Oh, I didn't catch that.
Yeah. Also, for those people who saw Heroes, the sci-fi series, cameo for Adrian Pastor, who played Nathan Petrelli. He was Chipper, his name was.
In Heroes, he's the one that can fly, isn't he?
Yes. Yeah. Also, and I don't know if they meant to do this, but a little bit of casual racism for a guy called Clarence Gilliard Jr., a black actor who was Theo in Die Hard.
Good shout. He was Maverick's sort of stand-in Goose, wasn't he?
Yeah.
His
But
co-pilot.
his code name was Sundown, and it's like, I don't know.
That is quite like undertonal.
I know.
racism.
Hang on a minute now. Hang on a minute. You don't. I can't believe I'm going to defend the film here, but you don't know whether he picked that name.
Well, that's the thing. Yeah, I'm hoping he did, because if he didn't, that's bad. That mind. And also last one, which I didn't know until just having a look on IMDb. The guy who played Cougar, John Stockwell, was in the film adaptation of Christine, the Stephen King novel.
About the car.
Yeah. He played one of the main characters, Dennis.
So after that, who's in the film? What's your good point, Jeff?
The score and the soundtrack.
I got it as well.
Yes.
Come on, it is a classic, whether you like the film or not.
Kenny Loggins at his fabulous best. Yeah.
I never liked it.
I'm glad you said the score as well, Ev, right? Because there's one particular scene, and it's the court scene, or if you can call it a court.
Oh yeah.
So he's Tom Cruise's character is in front of a couple of like senior officials. They've done their report, and they've found that he wasn't responsible for Goose's death. And then all of a sudden, the synth kicks in. It's brilliant. For me, one of the best bits of the film.
And also, obviously, the main riff, the Top Gun theme, as it were.
I'm with you on this, Ev. I think it's pretty classic.
And it's not bad. It's not bad.
Yeah. And
well, why are we talking about this? Do you know that they approached Bryan Adams to originally write the theme, or not to write it, but they wanted to use, and I can try to think what film it is or what song it is. Only the Strong Survive. They wanted to use that on the film soundtrack, but he refused because he felt that the film was going to glorify war.
Oh, okay.
Why do you agree to Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves, then?
A bit more fictional, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, didn't Harold Faltermeyer write the Top Gun theme? Him of Axel Foley. Am I getting that wrong?
Well, it was Harold Faltermeyer who wrote the music. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. It did Beverly Hills Cop 2, didn't he?
Yeah, he did. Yeah.
And also, well, my last good point is the very end scene, the jukebox in the bar. That is beautiful. The Wurlitzer jukebox, just the jukebox itself.
You can't have a favorite aspect.
So why not?
What are you on about? You brought up the car.
Yeah.
Well, I just mentioned that I'm not saying it's a favorite aspect, but I loved it.
You cheated.
I brought it up in my memories.
You cheated. If you wanted to, you could have put that in your favorite aspects, but you cheated.
I knew it didn't. I knew it didn't meet the criteria.
Stuart's inquiry.
I don't think me and Evan have seen the criteria for favorite aspects. It's been almost a year and a half doing this.
I don't think any of us have seen the criteria for the full podcast.
See, because he's host, he's throwing his weight around.
I know.
One rule for one, one rule for another. Oh, terrible.
Ev, you mentioned the who's who in this film, but I'm going to reel out the pile of actors, and I don't think any of these are going to be a surprise, who are in the running for the role of Maverick. Sean Penn.
Hang on now. Can I just say, can we take a moment to reflect on these names once you've read them?
Yeah, okay.
Kurt Russell's got to be in there.
Do you know what? I don't think he is. But someone I always used to get, not necessarily confused with Kurt Russell, but I always thought he was very similar. But I'll come to that in a minute. Sean Penn. Matthew Modine, or whatever you say his name.
Modine,
Full Metal Jacket. Okay. Patrick Swayze, who I always used to sort of think very similar to Kurt Russell.
That would have been a different film, wouldn't it?
Yeah. Emilio Estevez. Nicolas Cage. John Cusack. Matthew Broderick. Michael J. Fox. And Tom Hanks.
I swear to God, if Nicolas Cage was in this film, it'd be a 10 out of 10.
I couldn't see him being the lead.
I'm going to say this now. I was going to bring it up at the end in things I would change. I would flip Val Kilmer and Tom Cruise.
Oh, you'd have Val as the lead.
I would, because I think Val in this film is way more charismatic with much less to do.
Well, he was originally, he didn't want to do the film. He was contractually obliged to do the film because, actors, they sign up for so many films per contract when they sign up for studios.
Yeah.
He didn't want to do it. And
don't blame him.
supposedly, him and Tom Cruise did not get on for the film.
Yeah, there's stories about Val, isn't there? Just as there's stories about Tom Cruise, I suppose. But
Well, yeah.
So who knows what's true?
But so out of those, those individuals there, any that you could have seen play Maverick?
Who's the third one again?
Which one? The third one?
Yeah, I said Sean Penn, then one other, then
Matthew Modine. How would you say his name?
Modine.
Patrick Swayze.
Patrick Swayze. I tell you what, that would have been an interesting film with Patrick Swayze. That would have been a bit more introspective, wouldn't it? A bit more thought-provoking, I think.
And Tom Hanks.
Oh no,
Tom Hanks in this role.
I can't see him as an action lead at this point.
Michael J. Fox would have been a good shot though.
Nah, he's too young or young looking. He looks like a boy.
I was gonna say he's too short, but then Tom Cruise is 5'6", is he, something like that?
Yeah,
he's quite short. He had to stand on like boxes when he was next to Kelly McGuinness.
Who's you couldn't have had Sly or Arnie, could you?
Nah.
You could have had Kurt though, couldn't you?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
You could have Kurt in any film.
He instantly elevates it about 3 points.
Exactly.
And let's be fair, with his fabulous hair, it would have fit right in with the hairstyles in this film. Honestly, the high and tight sort of military haircuts in this film.
But that was 90s Kurt.
I just thought of one.
No, 80s Kurt had mullet overboard. He had the mullet in that, didn't he?
He did have the mullet, yeah.
Oh, I thought you meant more military.
No,
without the
the mullet. Yeah.
I just thought of an actor. He wasn't a star, although I think he probably should have been. Michael Biehn.
Oh, well, that is a fabulous shout there.
Right, you got to
Terminator.
Oh yeah. Kyle
Reese. Yeah. He would have added a bit of darkness to that role as well, wouldn't he?
Yeah, he would have, yeah.
Oh yeah.
You got the eyes for him, haven't he? And let's be honest, when they're in the plane, that's all you pretty much see him.
He's got the maniacal stare as well, isn't he?
Yeah.
He'd be giving the Russian pilots what for, wouldn't he?
I just would have put the whole cast of aliens in this film.
John Hurt as Maverick.
No, I mean the second one. Aliens with an S.
Oh, Aliens. Sorry, not Alien.
Imagine Apone as James Tolkien's character.
Yeah. Apone would have been fucking great. I tell you what, that's a question. If you could recast any film with another film's cast, what would you do? I reckon recasting Top Gun with the Aliens cast would have been really good.
Yeah, but who would you have as sort of like the female love interest?
Sigourney.
Well,
Or what's her name? Vasquez or whatever. Is it?
Vasquez. Yeah.
Only because they're the only two females in the film. But
there's another one, isn't there? There's she only plays a big part, unfortunately, because she gets killed off quite early. But where's
Spunkmeyer? That's a name, isn't it?
Yes, I think so. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, look at this now. You'd have Lance Henriksen as well. Bill Paxton.
Oh, he'd be Iceman for sure, wouldn't he?
Well, imagine Michael Biehn going up against
Bill Paxton.
Yeah. They are the antagonist and protagonist of the film. That would be really good. That would.
Whatever you have, you've got to though have people who can pull off the volleyball scene, which only because it's in the film. I'm not saying I like that scene at all, but that scene is just and I've got sort of a quote on this, that it was only put in post-production because they wanted to show off, Tom Cruise's body. And I was just thinking,
Right.
he hasn't got the greatest body, I didn't think. He's not like he's like really muscular and whatever.
He's not.
Actually,
bad, is he?
I'm going to put that down as one of my favourite aspects. Anthony Edwards keeping his top on.
Because he had a dad.
Well done,
bod.
Hewart. Well done. Kept your dignity.
Do you reckon he saw like the other guys? So it was Iceman, so Val Kilmer, the other, they took their tops off, and he was just like, I'm gonna have to have a word with the director.
You just say, no, sorry, tone. It's not going.
He's
To
like,
be honest, they didn't do Anthony Edwards any favours in this film, did they? They give him the Larry Bird wispy moustache.
I've got a lot of time for Anthony Edwards. Just
I
from
think he's a
ER.
very good actor.
Yeah, from ER is one of the best series ever made for me.
Well, I was going to find a moment to bring this up, but he was one of my hopes for the film when I was rewatching it, because I like him, and I always thought Goose is the good guy, isn't he? He's the likable one out of the two. So hopefully I'm going to like Goose. But of course, his character was just, they didn't give him anything.
Yeah, and he's a bit too goofy as well, isn't he? For my liking, anyway.
Yeah, even his one-liners were shit.
And he can't sing Great Balls of Fire.
But don't get me started on the singing.
Come on, let's move on to a favourite scene at least. You must have something there, Prog.
When the credits came on.
Is it because you were hoping for a post-credit scene?
Yeah. I was hoping for another 10 minutes. Okay, favourite scene. Let me have a think. I'm going to go with the very opening, where they're showing the planes on the ship.
What? Danger Zone and all that?
Yeah, no, with the Top Gun score.
Oh, okay.
And they're showing the cruiser, and they're showing all the planes coming into land and the people working on the ship. I thought that was quite cinematic. That is honestly all I can come up with.
I agree with some of that. I support some of that. I think, can you imagine being in the 80s and watching that in the cinema? I imagine it would have been a spectacle. And every time they took out one of those planes and filmed it properly, it cost them I think it was something ridiculous, like 10 grand an hour.
Really?
Yeah. And there's one particular scene where where the missiles are fired. And they only had enough money to fire two missiles. And so the director just kept reusing the shots. And I think they inverted them at one point and used the different aspects, a different bit of footage later on as well.
Yeah, if you flip them, they look like they're coming from a different angle, don't they?
Yeah.
Can I ask you boys about this? What did you think of the dogfight scenes?
I thought they were alright, to be fair.
Do you think they've aged okay or well? No?
I think elements of them have. Seeing the planes and what have you, fine. I didn't particularly think seeing the faces in the cockpit jumping around, I didn't like that bit. I didn't think that bit had aged as well.
Right.
So there's elements of it I thought were fine and worked well, and there's elements of it that definitely didn't for me.
I'm the same. Yeah, I'm the same.
What did you think?
Well, unfortunately, I hated them. Not because I thought they aged badly, but you boys know I'm not a fan of a car chase, so a dog fight is like 10 times worse for me. Because all I see is planes in the air. That's it.
They would be done very different now. I think there are times that they're confusing. You can't really work out what's happening. You've got to really concentrate on the dialogue to try and decipher what they're saying.
And the dialogue shit. So.
Yeah, the bit where he goes upside down and he's like a foot away from the MiG.
Oh, I bet.
Oh yeah.
And again, all I could think of was Hot Shots.
The thing is, right, I do think it'd be interesting to see the new film, to see what they do with it, because obviously technology and filming style and all that's come on so much now, isn't it?
Some of the shots in the trailer, like when they've got the camera facing back at it when the plane goes off the hangar, I think that's quite good.
But you think about how this film is thought of, and it's primarily for Tom Cruise and the dogfight scenes, isn't it? And the reason I asked the question is because I watched it and I was just bored. I was fucking bored watching the dogfight scenes.
Yeah, I know. I wouldn't say I was bored. I was just a bit. Yeah, I was just a bit perplexed by it. I was thinking, right, what's happening now? Where's the MiG? Where are they in relation to the MiGs? And here's
Underwhelmed is the word, is it?
Yeah, here's a question for you. What country are they fighting against?
I think it's supposed to be Russia.
Russia, yeah.
Because it's not said at any point, is it? But that's sort of implied, I think.
It's basically like the right at the end, isn't it? What, like one ship goes off course and goes into enemy territory or something, and then the planes come out because they think it's a hostile act and stuff.
Well, they show one of the planes and they show the flag, but I think it's a made-up flag, isn't it?
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me. But it would have been around the time of the Cold War, wouldn't it? What was this, 86?
Yeah, 86, yeah, it would have been.
Yeah. Well, you see the
Cold War, maybe?
You see the helmets of the MiG pilots, and they've got red stars on, so you think it's Russia, really.
I think it's subtle, isn't it? But it's not. It's implied, but it's not necessarily said.
Yeah.
Favorite scene. Do you know what? I really struggled with this. I did like the opening scene, as Prog said. I don't think I've got much beyond that. It's funny. I enjoyed the film, but I there's not a standout moment for me. It's pure nostalgia, 80s cheese. Evan mentioned that earlier, and I don't particularly like the love interest scene. You know, the engagement between Tom Cruise and Kelly McGinnis's characters.
Awful.
They do have the obligatory blue light, sex scene.
Yeah, again, that sex scene shown to test audiences, not the scene, sorry, the film. The test audience said, "Oh, we need a love scene in it." So that's why.
And Andrew Owen was asked, and he said, "I need to see 80s boobs."
And yes, there's for me not enough boob and 80s boob and not enough saxophone.
Oh, but it's a banger, that song though, the Berlin one.
Sorry, Ev, have you said your favorite scene?
No, and I'm a bit like you. I haven't really got a favorite scene, but I'm going to give a special mention to the volleyball scene, just for the fact that I think I saw like a comedy show, and I think they refer to it as like like the most homoerotic scene ever in film.
It also comes on Tarantino's cameo, isn't it? That what film is it, Prog? Sleep With Me? Yeah, Sleep With Me. I just checked my notes. So have you ever seen so Tarantino is in a film called Sleep With Me.
Right.
And he has a cameo, and for about a minute or two, he unleashes how homoerotic, or there's a homoerotic subtext to Top Gun. And since that film, everyone goes on about Top Gun being this homoerotic sort of film.
I think it's just it's just pure cheese more, and I think it.
Yeah, but cheese isn't always good, Ev.
I know, yeah, but the song's good. I like the song.
I will say though, their volleyball skills are decent. It's not like some sports scenes in films and they're absolutely terrible. Yeah. But they must have lowered that net a little bit for Tom Cruise. No way is he spiking over that.
Tom Cruise ain't spiking over.
No.
But he does look cool in his getup though, with the the distressed jean look and then the crisp white t-shirt afterwards. It's almost.
Well, yeah, that's the other thing, right? Everyone's like white t-shirts or white shirts. I don't know they're in the Navy. They're spotless, aren't they? They're like ironed to an inch of their lives. They're like they've just come off the hanger from the supermarket.
I don't know what it's like with you boys, but when I put a white t-shirt on, within like 20 seconds, I've got vinegar or oil or some kind of food sauce on there. It's inevitable.
They
Yeah.
must
And
have used like,
not even when I've been like in the kitchen or cooking or something. You look down, it's like, where the hell's that come from?
they must have used like a gallon of starch on it as well, just because it's not a single crease.
No,
Perfect.
they probably had like Vanish Oxy Gold, just stashes of it in the back. Just it's a stain, right? Get it in there.
Or a bit like Michael Jackson. I don't know if you know the story about Michael Jackson. That he only ever used to wear one. He only used to wear a pair of socks once, and then he'd throw them away. So brand new, wear them, throw them away. So I wonder if it was the same. Like they only ever wear like one shirt.
Yeah.
Wear it once sort of thing, buy it, and then get rid of it.
Mind you, he could probably sell those socks for £100 a pop after he's worn them.
Oh yeah. It's like where people sell like used panties. He's just like handing out socks. Shall we do it then? Shall we move on to changes? And we've mentioned some already. Can I just throw in one thing? No. Everyone sweats in this film.
I was going to mention that. The amount of
every scene, people are sweating.
The amount of perspiration in this film is just ridiculous.
No wonder they're all chiseled.
They've got like no sort of fluid in their body.
No.
So everyone is dehydrated to fucking back. So they just cut. A bit like when but not necessarily bodybuilders, but when you go to other sort of like like Miss World, they get slightly drunk because they drink alcohol to dehydrate them. So they drink like wine and gin beforehand, and it'll draw the sort of water away from their skin.
Yeah.
And why have we never been backstage at Miss World with you, bud? You obviously know the right people.
No, I know all the tricks.
You're right though, because I saw a documentary once on this guy who was just like a normal working class guy wanting to be like Mr. Universe or whatever, and he was showing you like the day or two before the competition, he was drinking a lot red wine like no one's business. Like for an evening meal the night before, he had a steak and half a bottle of red wine. Then in the morning, he had the other half the bottle of red wine, and then nothing until after the competition. And it was that bad. He collapsed from dehydration.
Yeah, I know. Definitely in these sort of like fitness competitions, females will drink a lot of gin.
There's no calories, isn't it?
Well, yeah, exactly. You want something in you that's least amount of calories, but also that will give you that desired effect to dehydrate you.
Yeah.
Anyway, we can move on now. But yeah, everyone sweats in it, and it starts off with bloody James Tolkien or whatever his name is at the very beginning, sweating buckets and on the ship.
Yeah.
And his bald head is just piss firing everywhere.
Yeah.
Can I just say, as a bald man, I had an affinity for him because we, because of our lack of hair, it just tends to find anywhere it can to.
But imagine you were a bald man with no eyebrows. Ooh, constantly running in your eyes.
Oh yeah.
Well,
it runs in my eyes anyway.
Do you want to go next, Prog, with your long list, or should we leave the best to last?
But I could pick holes in this until tomorrow morning, so you just go if you want. I mean, there's so many things I'm not a fan of. I'm just gonna. The biggest one for me is the dialogue. I think it's appalling. I think a 6-year-old wrote it. It's so melodramatic. I was watching it last night and I thought, I may as well chuck EastEnders on.
Every thing is, every bit of dialogue has got a bit of drama in it. Do you know what I mean?
It's so on the nose, though.
Your ego's writing checks, your body can't.
Oh, but that's got to be one of the best lines in that film, surely.
Yeah.
I feel the need for speed. That makes me cringe.
Yeah.
Nobody in real life talks like they do in Top Gun. They don't. don't even get me started on Tom Cruise trying to get into Kelly McGuinness.
It is shocking, isn't it?
Yeah.
It is awful. Awful.
Which does lead us, Ev, to the very
Yeah.
scene that we back in
yeah.
it. And I'm going to start with it, right? And
Go on.
I'm going to once I've had my rant, by all means, come in. So we're talking about the scene where he sings, "You've lost that loving feeling." And I hate this scene with a passion for one reason and one reason only. And that is every guy in the 80s and fucking 90s decided that they could sing to women in bloody pubs and what have you. And no one in their right mind would ever do this. And no group of people in their right minds would join in. Like all his mates come around and like, baby, baby. And especially the guy who then takes over.
Yeah.
Oh, I hate it with a passion. Every pub and rugby club around the country in the bloody 80s and 90s probably had one guy who thought they could do this.
So just so I can get this straight now, because I didn't realize this is where you were going with this scene.
No, well, there's plenty else wrong with the scene, but this is my main hate with it.
Okay, so you're differentiating this from your career on the karaoke.
Yeah, very different. I have never gone up to a girl in a bar and just started singing full blast in front of them. Unless I got a different memory or something, I have not.
Right, I'm not going to correct you because I genuinely can't remember.
All right, okay. I thought you had a memory then.
Oh, no.
It's gonna be that Columbo. And another thing, you sang too.
Yeah. Just one more thing. No, but I do know for a fact that every Wednesday we went out to the Black Lion. We did karaoke. Andy and the Gimps made an appearance every Wednesday, and you sang. And I swear, right? I don't know for a fact, but I swear it would be unheard of if you didn't look a girl in the eyes while you were singing.
Get off. It was Wednesday. It was pound a pint. I could barely see the lyrics on the screen, let alone look a girl in the eye.
What was it? This song as well? Was it?
No.
No.
Brown-Eyed Girl I would do with Prog, and I would also do Suspicious Minds.
And on one occasion, he also did Backstreet Spark.
So me and Prog were seeing girls at the time who were best friends, right? And I always remember they went up and they sang Respect by Aretha Franklin. The only problem is they didn't know the words apart from respect and the spelling out of it. And I'm not entirely sure they got the spelling right either. Even though they were on the words are on the screen.
Yeah, they didn't say the last T, did they? They said a K instead.
So was it a case of that you had the mic, you had the microphone, and then all of a sudden you're surveying the dance floor or the bar area, and you just point at the particular girl and just go.
No, I gotta say, I don't think Andrew was ever a pointer.
Oh,
I never pointed.
No.
Let's not talk about this anymore.
Whenever he was drunk, well, you know, Ev, he would mumble a lot unless you put a microphone in front of him.
I mumble anyway.
Yeah,
I mumble anyway.
I remember at aforementioned Daniel Harris's wet evening do. You with the Go West and the King of Wishful Thinking, you were well into that, I remember.
Oh, well, that's because, I don't know if you remember, but late 90s, early 2000s, Graham Henry was manager.
Heroes.
Yeah, Graham Henry was manager of the Welsh rugby club team. And they went on tour to Argentina, and there was a prop called Ben Evans.
Yep.
Yeah. He sang this song on like a tour. They followed them on tour, and he sang this song, or the song came on the radio, and he did some actions to it. And I always remember to this day, like he was doing the King of, and all this. So I love that song for just that really random reason. Go on, Ev. What else do you hate about that scene? I've got my rant out the way.
It's just it's almost as though like the whole male contingent of the club are ganging up on this poor girl. Every man in the club is just round her literally. And what's she supposed to say? She's supposed, if she says, "No, I don't fancy Maverick at all," there's like 50 to 60 blokes just go, oh, giving a shit for the entire night. It's
on a similar note, right? Once upon a time, a young Andrew Owen was in a similar situation, but roles reversed, and a group of girls were trying to get me to go out with a girl which I didn't fancy.
What, by singing to you?
Not by singing to me, no. But similar sort of like, premise. There was like, peer pressure of all their friends.
I bet the pressure was immense, wasn't it?
If they started singing to me, I would have had to cave.
Oh.
I love the fact that I love the fact that you recognise that you might have actually had a breaking point there.
They started singing "Your Loving Feeling." I'm like, oh, I'm gone. I can't do it.
Right, come on. Where is she?
Come on. Yeah. Let's I'll take her on a date. It's fine.
You had me at "You've lost that loving feeling." Yeah.
I take it back.
You know what gets me about that scene though is Tom Cruise's shit-eating grin.
Yeah.
I can't. It's just, and again, I like Tom Cruise. I think he's a good actor in a lot of films, and I think he's actually got better as he's got older. But he's so fucking smarmy in this film, so smarmy, and that scene in particular, he follows her into the women's toilets.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah, that's really bad. Yeah, ridiculous.
Come on, what other scenes we got?
Oh, I've got quite a few actually. When Cougar quits at the start, where's he going to go? It's not as if he can just like get the bus home or whatever. He's on the British ship in the middle of the Indian Ocean. What's he going to do? Just sit in his room for like 2 weeks until they make port?
I love it if he jumped in one of those planes and just said, "I'm off home."
Oh, Mav, give us a lift. Yeah, all right then. Jump in.
Again, no, that scene, the dialogue's fucking awful, isn't it?
I know, yeah.
Just awful.
He nearly orphaned them and he hasn't even seen them. What, he hasn't even seen his wife at all? Surely he's seen his wife. Come on.
Well, no, I think he's just but again, the dialogue isn't written well enough, is it? That he's just referring to his child, but it's not. Yeah.
Next one, back in the club, Iceman's wearing aviators. Why? You can't see a thing, can he? He's drinking. It's a dimly lit club. Plus, he's got bloody sunglasses on. Ah, terrible.
So aviators at the time, or before all this, were seen as quite old-fashioned because they'd come in and out of fashion since like I don't know when they originally came into sort of. I think it was the 30s or the 40s they came in anyway. So after this film, aviator sales rose 40%.
Wow.
And I don't think they were sort of product placement. I think they just happened to be used in the film.
I wonder if that was the start of product placement.
Might well have been.
I got a couple here. When Maverick quit, who was Wolfman phoning?
Kelly McGuinness. No, he was.
Do you reckon?
Yeah, because she then went to the bar to get him. Or wherever he was.
Okay.
That's what I
yeah.
down as.
Oh, well, maybe. I don't.
Only because she was sleeping with him as well.
Really?
Yeah. There's a twist for you.
Oh, no, yeah. A couple more I've got. The side story of Maverick's dad. There was no need for it.
No
need at all. There was no point in it whatsoever.
Or they just needed a bit more about it.
Yeah.
It even needed more or not at all.
Yeah. but it was almost as if like when Tom Skerritt's character is talking to him at the end, it was like, oh, what I'm about to tell you could be my career, and they just blurted out anyway. It's like, come on, it's not needed. And last one, question for you: Goose's death, who was at fault? Was it Maverick for going too close to Iceman, or was it Iceman not moving away?
I got a sub question to that. Why did he hit the roof, or how did he hit the cockpit roof? Was it like two levers, and one you got to pull first for the cockpit to go away, and then you have to pull the other one for the seat to come away? And did he just pull them both at the same time?
Isn't it just automatic? You pull them and the cockpit comes off, and then the
Well, that's what I thought. So how did he hit it? Do you get what I mean?
Yeah.
Well, I always took it that the cockpit just didn't come off properly.
Because Maverick does say a line in there, something like watch out for the cockpit roof or something like that.
Yeah, and he says can you reach the handles eject because I can't reach mine or something.
Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah, that's it for me.
I got a couple of bits, and I should have mentioned this earlier when we were talking about when Prog asked about the flight scenes. I think Goose's death could be a bit better. It just happens all of a sudden. And
when you just have him pancake on the actual floor, like, you know,
like a scene from Hot Shots, you mean?
Just have him go like, you know, full on and at 200 mile an hour into the deck instead into water.
Well, yeah, and then both of them floating, and he's
and of course Tom Cruise gets to cradle him, doesn't he?
And he must have cradled him for like, I don't know, fucking hours before that.
Don't get me started on the Meg Ryan scene after.
Wow. I know what you mean.
It's fucking awful. He loved flying with you, Maverick. Shut up.
I will admit, in the flight scenes, I got a little bit of motion sickness. Only because they were all over the place. And if Maverick loved Goose that much, what he should have done is made sure that family is sorted for life. He should have married Meg Ryan. He should have done the honourable thing.
But I got a conspiracy theory.
Why?
Did Maverick kill Goose so he could get Carol Bradshaw? Because let's be honest, Meg Ryan is Meg Ryan.
She is Meg Ryan, but in this film, she's really annoying.
Yeah, she doesn't look as good in this film as she did in the 90s, though.
She is better in my mind in when Harry met Sally.
You've got mail for me.
You prefer it and you've got mail, do you have? That's interesting. What about In a Space?
Oh, In a Space.
Oh, I forgot she was in that. Armed and Dangerous she's in.
Yeah.
A film we're down to do.
Right, I'm mindful of time, so I'm going to reel these off. Why doesn't Tom Cruise ride with a helmet? I know the reason. It probably isn't great for filming, and the fact you can't see his flowing locks, although if he had flowing locks. But it pisses me off. For the entire film, not once does he put a helmet on, even when he's on civilian roads, and Kelly McGuinness is ploughing after him in that Porsche.
But haven't you heard the song? It's called Danger Zone. He's always in the danger zone. I forgot about. You just reminded me about something. Kelly McGuinness driving after him.
Yeah, and
he rides away on the bike. What is she doing? Just fucking craning through that intersection. Come on, man.
Hey, and she's the one who does the stunts for that stop right before the bike. If I was Tom Cruise in real life now and Kelly McGuinness like literally braked a foot away from me, I'd be shitting myself.
Yeah.
Where did that the co-pilot come from? Was he mentioned previously? So Goose is dead. Tom Cruise needs a new co-pilot.
Sundown, yeah.
Is it no? He had Sundown for one of the training rides, and then he doesn't have
Oh,
Sundown.
but
for
he
the
has
Oh, it's
final.
Merlin. It's Merlin, isn't
It's
it?
Merlin, is it right?
yeah, it's Cougar's co-pilot at the start.
Oh, wait a minute then. So how did Merlin get to go to school? Or
They just
Top Gun?
because Merlin probably I can't believe I'm making excuses for this one. But what happened was they probably because Merlin was at the same ship or regiment as
Well, and technically he was number one, wasn't he?
Yeah.
No, that co-pilot. What do they do? What's their role?
navigation.
Right, okay. I was just about to really what the fuck they do because they don't fire.
Yeah, but you could say that about Star Wars. Why does Han need Chewie?
Just
That's a tangent.
the way to go on that one. Right.
When we did the Star Wars film,
Oh, we haven't done one yet. Yeah.
Well, this was billed as Star Wars on Earth or something at the time.
it's not Star Wars then, is it?
Yeah.
Fucking hell.
Right. Some facts before we wrap up. The film is dedicated to art school or Scholl. I don't know if that's how you say it. A stunt pilot who was killed during production when his plane went into a tailspin and crashed into the Pacific Ocean. The US Navy said the amount of young men who wanted to be naval aviators went up 500% after the movie's release.
Okay.
And then box office, £15 million, which is hardly anything.
That's the box office.
No, budget, sorry. 15
Yeah.
million. Box office, 257.
Oof.
That's domestic.
I don't know if it is. Yeah, it's off Wikipedia, so God knows.
I've got another figure here. I've got 357.
What, domestic or worldwide?
I think that's the total.
It's like
What a return that is.
That's
Jesus.
20 odd times the amount.
times 20 plus, yeah, 25, or maybe that. Unbelievable. So I got one final question to ask before we do recommend. Actually, I'll ask it after recommend. Ev, would you recommend the film?
No.
Ooh. Any
No.
reason?
I don't know. I think it was good for me because of the nostalgia effect, but I think it's the cringiness outweighs the good in it. So
I would recommend, and for the very reason of it being a bit of an 80s iconic film, which I think everyone should watch at least once to give their own opinion on.
How is it? I don't get it. Like, how is it an iconic film?
I think it's an iconic film if you have, and I'm sort of countering my argument here. I think it's an iconic film if you watched it when you were younger.
Right.
And enjoyed it when you were younger. I know you didn't enjoy it, Prog, but I think the action and cheesiness is pure 80s, and for that reason, I still enjoyed watching it. I know we've slated it, but I still enjoyed it. Prog, I think I know where you're going.
I can't, but I was going to say something funny like, yeah, I would recommend it because I'd want other people to waste 2 hours of their life, but I don't want people to waste 2 hours of their life, so I wouldn't recommend it.
Okay. Right. Final question from me then. What would your call sign be?
Oh, God, it's Prog, isn't it?
Yeah, but it doesn't mean anything. Like, at least Maverick and Iceman, they mean something.
Could I get away with God?
God.
It'd have to be some sort of rhyme with prog, wouldn't it?
Prog or dog.
Prog, dog.
I would have to have Geordie, surely.
No, I got one for Evan. Quickness.
Steak bake.
Evan the Bake Quick.
Pastry.
Right. On that note, we are.
Hold on. You haven't given yours.
We said it, didn't we? Andrew Mumbler Owen.
I am.
Mumbles. Come in, Mumbles. On that note, we are leaving. Podcasts come out every Wednesday. Don't forget to hit us up on social media. Check out our YouTube channel. And if you want us to do another film or one we haven't done in the future, just let us know. Cheers all.